I'm Stacie Zinn Roberts, and I'm the host of Live Your Passion. My guest today is Jason Hulfish. He's an artist extraordinaire. He creates unique spaces in children's bedrooms, in bars, in restaurants, in commercial areas that are you've never seen before. He's been on the TV show Bar Rescue, and his work has also been featured on Extreme Makeover Home Edition. We'll show you some pictures in a little bit. But he does some work that I have never seen, and we'll show it to you. I am so excited to bring to you this unique artist, Jason Hulfish. Welcome.
Hey Stacie, thanks for having me. I'm really excited and looking forward to this interview. And I guess you're totally correct. Everything you said is absolutely 100% on, and the stuff I do is totally unique, and it's worth talking about. So let's have at it.
Excellent, excellent. So you've been an artist for more than 20 years, but how did you come to specialize in this kind of creating a fantasy world for people? How did that happen?
Like with most art careers, they start out small and they kind of evolve a little bit if you nurture them and you keep working on it. And that's one of the things I could say. I've had a good group, a network of friends who've always supported me. And I began my career doing T-shirts, graphic artwork, stuff like that. And then one thing led to another, and somebody was like, "Oh, will you paint this on my wall? I really like this design, or I want to do that." And that led from there to, all of us getting a little bit older. Some of my friends started having kids, and from that point, it was like, "Hey, will you paint this on my kids' room? They really like this comic book character, or they like this superhero," something of that nature. So, that led to doing some kids' rooms, and then shortly after that, I realized, like, oh, kids like really cool, like big, over-the-top design. The character can't be big enough. The colors are bright. It really lended itself really well to my style of artwork. So, from there, I just kind of evolved and developed that. And like I said, it's always one of those things where it just keeps progressing. And if you're willing to, push the boundaries, if you're willing to take risks and take chances, then, it just keeps going. You never really know where the end is.
So we're going to show some pictures so the audience has a visual image of the types of work you do. The first one is a pirate bedroom. Can you talk to me about this? This is a bunk bed with a pirate ship?
Yeah, that's correct. And again, the rooms are all designed specifically for the kids and the families, so they pick the theme. That's not something I really get involved in. We do try to work through some of the details and get the core of what the kids are really interested in. It's ironically enough, it's like demographically speaking, if you're by the water, it tends to be more fish, pirates, things of that nature. And if you're inland, rural areas, it's more farms, horses, stuff like that. And I guess for girls, it's universally princess.
Yes. Yes, you did the princess bed. I want this myself. Let's show this picture.
Every kid wants to be a princess. But as far as the pirate ship bunk bed is concerned, that one was really unique, and that's part of the evolution process. That's where we start out doing paintings and wall murals, and then they're like, well, how are we going to get a bed to match this? And so that leads to, hey, why don't I try making you a bed? And then that, progresses and evolves into these big, elaborate, theme park quality rooms that you see, the pictures that you'll show.
That is actually a really good way to describe it. A theme park, it's like going into Busch Gardens or Disney World. That it's a total immersion experience, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's worth noting, too, some of the projects, as much as they are like a theme park or they're just for, a distraction or an entertainment purposes, a lot of times, the parents are trying to reinforce, things that the kid likes. For instance, if they're into baseball, they want a baseball theme room, or if they're into football, they want that. And those type of things, they're encouraging interests for the kids. And, and also, a lot of times, just a place where they can go and just have imagination and stuff of that nature. So, it's really, it's all across the board, but that is that's the gist of it.
So you build the bed, you build structures within the room. There's one room that's like a jungle room where giraffes and elephants are coming out of the wall. How do you do that?
Well, you know, it's a long process, and I don't know if you have enough time on this interview to talk about all that, but really the process is basically you try to tie all the elements together so that you can see an overall environment. And when we add the 3D elements into that, that really like brings it all to life. And that's where art is totally subjective, and that's where every artist is different. You don't treat it like a commodity. You treat it like a unique thing that like it's something that only you have. And that's where the vision comes in, and that's, I think, what I bring to the table is my vision is different than anyone else.
Sure.
I try to have something for the viewer or the occupant of the room to see. Either they're coming, going, every angle, every corner. There's something interesting to look at. So that's a big part of what I do. The composition is the key element to this.
It is. You're completely immersed, just like when you go to Disney World, and it's as if the outside world doesn't exist. And you use a special type of methodology in your actual paint. You use a certain kind of spray technique. Can you talk about that?
Oh, I do. The techniques you're asking about, it's a combination of a bunch of different things. I do a lot of brush work, like fine art paint work, but then I do airbrush work over top of that. So I'm very big in airbrushing and doing stuff of that nature. Been doing it for years, and again, they're all skills, and looking for that right combination of the two to create the natural-looking 3D elements that you see is key. And and also I sculpt, I design, I build. So that is probably another thing that's a little bit more unique about me is I do all those things, and I combine all those different features into one piece of work that you see, which is the completed room.
Right. How did you learn how to do this? Did you study this in school, or how does one become an artist of your type?
I think the biggest thing, and I know it kind of goes against everything that you're taught, and that failure is not an option and all these type of scenarios, but in actuality, failure is a daily occurrence for me. It's one of those things where there's never a perfect game of golf. There's never a perfect piece of artwork. And you have to be willing to take those risks. You have to be willing to make the mistakes. And you also have to believe in your ability and your vision to think that you can pull these things off. And that's really what it comes down to. It's like I see something, I go, oh, I think I can do that. Or, what would be cool? What if we did this? And then I'll try it. You have to be willing to take those chances.
Trial and error is part of the creative process.
It's part of the creative process. Like I said, nobody's going to hit 18 hole-in-one, playing golf, but people play golf every day. And, you're always playing against your own best game. And every time you start a project, that's what happens, So you're always playing against what you've done in the past and trying to improve upon that and get better as you move on.
Great.
So golf is a good analogy. I don't even play golf, but I know it is.
Okay. So, as you know, I created the What's Your Avocado concept. Actually, your significant other, Cynthia, designed my logo.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 artists in one household.
That's right. That's right.
So as you know, I created the What's Your Avocado concept that says that everyone has something about them that's special, and we call that unique element your avocado. And so take me to the moment, your aha moment, your avocado moment, when you knew what you were here to do and how you were going to do it.
That's a tough question for me, because I think as an artist, you're never 100% confident as to what direction you should go or what direction you should take an individual project. And that's a tough thing to say, because, if you're any good at what you do, you have some humility to it, and you're always looking at like, am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing this? And that is questioned all the time. But one thing is without question is that I enjoy creating things. I enjoy the participation. I enjoy the challenge of doing all that. And so if that's the aha moment, that's what it would be. That's the moment where you realize, like, what? Anybody can do a job. But if you want to create something, be really unique, and do something that's totally you, versus like selling an item or a product or piggybacking on somebody else's idea, then you have to step out and do that and create that. I mean, I can't narrow it down to one specific moment because I think, ultimately you kind of fight that along the way. You're always questioning that.
As an artist, there is an insecurity. But did you know from a young age that you couldn't do anything else? That if you sold shoes, you would die. That you had to be an artist.
I've done every bad job there is. I've done every, and sometimes you have to do the things, what you don't want to do. And part of it was like, after you do that a little bit, that has helped me to have a little bit of, a clarity towards like, look, I can always do this. There's always a job that will hire you to work on a phone line or sit in a cubicle or make a sandwich or, whatever. Mm-hmm. But, if you're not going to at least give yourself the opportunity to try something different and try something unique, then you're never going to know what the possibilities were or if you could have done it. So, I don't lack confidence and I don't live through fear. So I don't have any fear of the uncertainty. I don't have fear of, bills. You can't worry about those things because it doesn't do you any good anyways. So
I think that's really powerful, honestly. Fear holds people back so much. And so if you can get past the fear.
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
If you can get past the fear and do the thing you're supposed to do, everything else is gravy.
Yeah, and look, if you're going to just keep doing things the way everybody else is doing them or the way everybody else believes they should be done, then, you're just going to fall in line with what everybody else is doing. If you're not going to create something unique or different, and at the end of the projects, these are things that I can say like, hey, this is something that didn't exist until I created it, and each one of those projects becomes different. They're specifically for those families. So, I don't need the entire world to love it. I just need the 3, 4, or 5 people, however many people are in their family, to enjoy it and love it because it's for them. So, I'm not trying to create, door stops or the next iPhone. That's not what I'm trying to do. They're specifically for these people and they have specific requests. So, I have a limited group that I'm trying to make happy. Really.
And you too, right? You always want to make sure that there's something of you in there, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. Anytime you're creating something, you're doing a work of art, you're leaving a little bit of yourself behind. And again, that's where your vision comes in. They give you the ideas and you help guide them through it to give them the best possible environment that, and look, if I'm any good at what I do, I exceed their expectations, and that's a very common occurrence. That's what I shoot for, and try to do that. And that makes it challenging for me as well. But, again, I can't be afraid that it's going to fail. I can't be afraid that it's not going to work or that they're not going to like it. Because if you do that, you just get inside your own head and you would never do the first step.
Yeah, I can see that. So, as you know, this show is called Live Your Passion. And you certainly do that. You demonstrate that every day in the work that you do. What advice would you give to other aspiring artists or other people who have something inside them that's their passion? What advice would you give to someone who wants to live their passion the way you do?
I think the best advice, especially for artists, is you have to work every day at your craft. It's not the kind of job where you just work 9 to 5 and then you're done. As an artist, you're looking at things, you're looking at the environment around you, and I'm out at the beach relaxing, and you're looking at the way the light reflects off the water, and you're thinking, how can I recreate that? How would I do this? And that's the human nature behind being an artist and a creative person. You look at the world differently than the rest of the people see it. And in some instances, it doesn't always fit with your friends or those type of things. You see the world differently, and there's a reason for that, and you have to embrace it. And finally, the last thing about that is I see so many people with talent and ability, but they just don't work at it, and they don't finish projects that they start because they get inside their own head and think it's not perfect. And once you get to the point where you realize like it's never gonna be perfect, it's just gonna be, then then you're okay. Then you can keep going. You can pursue your passion.
I understand that. As a writer, I work on deadline all the time. And I went through kind of a boot camp. I wrote for newspapers. I had to do 2 stories a week for 10 years. it couldn't be perfect. It just had to be done. And so that was really good training for me as a creative person, to have a deadline and be forced to make it. I mean, do you think that helps you too?
Yeah, I mean, look, I can work on these projects eternally, but at some point, if you're going to make it a business, you have to realize, like, hey, this is what a client is paid for, this is what we agreed to, this is what I can do within this, and then if you come up with ideas and they don't fit within that budget or that constraint of that room, you just kind of store those things along the way. But, it's like anything. It's one of those type of deals where, especially since it's someone's home, you have to finish the project. I can't just tear someone's room out and then leave them half done for 6 months, a year, or it just doesn't work that way. So you have to be done in a timely fashion. And, my clients are very affluent. So, I look at it like it's a huge privilege, because they could literally hire anyone in the world, and they've chosen to hire me. And that's the way you should treat it.
Okay. So you have done work for celebrities and professional athletes, and of course, for so many television shows. What is the best way for someone to hire you? If I want to have my children's room done, are you open to anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to anyone. I'm always looking for a creative project. I'm always looking for something unique and different. And I'm looking for clients that, have that kind of personality, that want the big, over-the-top design. They want something fun. They want something no one else has. I'm the guy for that project. There's, without question, those are the kind of things that I want to do. Those are the people that I seek out, and hopefully they seek out me as well. So they can go to my website, which is jfishart.com. Mm-hmm. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and every other kind of social media that's out there. I guess I'm on all of them. So, do my best to keep up with those. So, but, the website's the best way to go and see the projects, and also get a hold of me if you like. Call, whatever. I'm open for anything. So,
okay. So
if you have the right project, I don't care if you send smoke signals. Just find me.
That's necessary in today's market, but it's good to know.
You know what? It may not be, but like I said, if you got the right project, find me. I don't care how you do it, just find me.
And a good place for people also to go is your blog, which is fantasychildrensrooms.com.
Correct,
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Blogging is another chore for me, but I'm getting better at it. I'm working through that. So it's not the writing that's the problem. It's, hey, is there anything interesting about my day? Because I don't see it that way. It's just the job that I do versus the insight that I possibly have, or the things I could share. And you just realize, like, a lot of things in the creative process are very instinctual versus like mechanical. Mm-hmm. So
I get that. Jason, what do you love about this? What do you love about what you do?
What do I love about it?
Yeah.
Like I said, I keep repeating the same thing, but I love the challenge behind it. I love the, especially being a professional artist, you never know who's going to call. I never know who the next client's going to be. I never know where they're going to live. I never know what their project's going to be, that theme, all that stuff. So the uncertainty is actually something I embrace. I enjoy that, because I'm always hopeful, that it's going to be something different, unique, and something I can push myself on, or, and sometimes the kids have thoughts and ideas, and they have interests that would have interested me as a kid, which is actually kind of cool, because I get to go back and relive and delve inside my mind and figure out, like, hey, how would I do this if I was that kid and I had the ability that I have today? So that part's always really cool. That's really what I love about it. I love the different people that I meet.
And they're all over the country. You also do some work internationally as well?
Yeah, we do international. They're all over the world. I don't discuss who my clients are. I believe everybody, inside of their house, their families, and a lot of times their kids, they, as far as I'm concerned, they're entitled to their privacy. If they're nice enough to let me share the photos of their rooms and the work that I do, that's all I ask for. I don't, we don't discuss who the families are, who my clients are. I think, everybody's entitled to, when they come home, they're just home. So
yeah, and that's why that's why
but they are all over the world.
Okay, so the best way to get in touch with you is jfishart.com or fantasychildrensrooms.com, and we will put all links to that as well as pictures on the website. Jason, thank you. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, thank you, Stacie. It's great. You asked some great questions, and it's always nice to see someone who's interested in what you do and talk about it and discuss it. And hopefully, your viewers will feel the same way and, have an interest in it.
Absolutely. And you're inspiring them as well, because not everybody gets to do what they want to do. And I appreciate you offering your heart and the steps that you took to get to be who you wanted to be. That's the best stuff at all.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, Stacie. You're totally sweet.
Thank you. All righty. Well, I'll say goodbye. I am Stacie Zinn Roberts, and this has been Live Your Passion. Bye.
Bye, Stacie.